everyone, I'm Sakura Sunset, and today is Earth Day, so that means it is the next installment of my Sustainably Sakura series, a series in which I teach you how to make your cosplay more sustainable. So today I'm going to talk to you about all of my sustainable cosplay sewing equipment and supplies. This video is not meant to shame you if you don't do these things. They're just a few things to consider if you would like to make your cosplay sewing a little bit more eco-friendly or sustainable. A bonus is these things might help give you ideas on how to save money for cosplay sewing. So first of all, my sewing machine. I actually bought it from a local shop, so I saved on carbon emissions there because it didn't need to be shipped to me. It was actually a trade show machine, so it was only used for a few days at a trade show that this company went to. They then sold it to me at a discount. It's normally $350 and I got it $50 off, so it was only $300 for me. And as always, good machines, you should get maintenanced every so often, depending on how often you use your machine. I usually do it every 2 to 3 years, depending on how often I'm using it. But it's always good to do a tune-up rather than just buying new constantly. It can also get very expensive if you are buying very high quality machines. My serger I got secondhand. It was actually my mother's friend. She paid somewhere around $300 to $375, I think, for it brand new, and then she sold it to me for $200. Also, another thing to keep in mind is your local sewing dealer might have used machines for significantly cheaper as well. So one of the major supplies that I have is my fabric stash. I got a ton of it actually off of Facebook for free. I was a part of a cosplay group for the Midwest and someone was moving, and so she was getting rid of her stash. This was great for mock-ups, and I also made an entire cosplay from this stash. Along with that fabric supply, it came a huge thread supply. Again, this was completely free. They're not necessarily my favorite brands, but for free you can't really beat it, and it comes with so many different colors. There is not a project I have found that I couldn't find something from my stash. And as always, it's better to use what exists in the world than brand new things that need to be new materials and resources that go into those materials. So another thing I got from the cosplayer that was getting rid of a bunch of fabric and thread was a zipper stash. Some of these seem to be salvaged from other projects. Some of them might be new, but either way, I have a lot of options now. My other zippers I bought in bulk, so because I'm not going to the store, that's less gas and less carbon emissions, and that's also shipped to me once instead of multiple times, which also saves on carbon emissions. Another piece of equipment I got was my cutting table. It was only $50 on Facebook Marketplace. I believe this is a Sullivan's brand that's normally around $200 online. A lot of times cutting tables range from $120 to $400 brand new, so this is really a steal of a deal. Unfortunately, I have to note that it's a little bit janky. It's not put together quite right, so like the legs don't snap in perfectly, but it works for me and it's totally functional and it helps so I don't have to be a gremlin that cuts fabric on the floor. So part of cosplay sewing that people don't think about is storing those cosplays, and I have a cosplay closet, so it's just mostly dedicated to my cosplay. I have a few personal items in it, but not a ton. I originally had one of those plastic metal combos, and then I got too many cosplays and it bent. And then I received replacement parts from the company and it bent again because it's just not meant to hold that kind of weight. I got my current one as a gift from family friends. It's technically an antique, I believe. It's made out of very sturdy metal. And the cover I was able to reuse from the previous one I got, so my cosplays don't end up getting dusty or any kind of dirt in the air, they're protected. So instead of cutting out all of my sewing patterns, I actually trace them onto tracing paper and save the patterns for future use. So technically I am adding more paper into the mix, which is more material in some ways, but in other ways I don't ever lose my patterns this way, so I'm gonna count it You may have a different idea, but that's fine. So I save almost every single scrap I make. The bin itself I got off of Facebook Marketplace for only $5. I wanted a see-through one as I struggle with object permanence. If I don't see it anymore, it is gone forever. It can be really great for testing tension on my serger and my sewing machine, so I don't have to be using my fashion fabric that's expensive. I don't want to ever run out of these materials. So pieces that are too small to use go into a stuffing box, which I plan to use for stuffing plushies, follow for a future project. I'm not sewing as much as I used to, so that might take a while. And then I also reference this box in my Zero Waste Mulan cosplay video. Go check out my Zero Waste Mulan cosplay video if you're interested in seeing how I made an entire cosplay from this stash. The last major thing I want to talk about is my sewing shears. I bought these brand new, so technically not something that already exists in the world, but because I decided to buy something higher quality, that means I'm going to have to buy less of them over time. Like before, I had these gingers, I was going through so many of the orange Fiskars, and when they eventually start dulling, I can pay to get them sharpened instead of buying a brand new thing. I would really love to try Famore someday because they do free sharpening. I think you do have to pay shipping, so it's not ideal if you're super far away because you are spending essentially more carbon emissions to ship them back and forth than going somewhere local, but over a lifetime it could possibly save you money. So a couple honorable mentions is things I didn't buy solely for cosplay sewing. I actually bought them for my art business, Princess Phoenix Studio. The first thing is my computer. I bought refurbished, and so it is not brand new. It was through Apple refurbished. I count this partially because I do make sewing patterns on it or test out certain things or adjust things on my computer directly. Another equipment I use is my printer. I got this off of Facebook Marketplace for very cheap. It is an Epson EcoTank, and so instead of cartridges, it does refills, and the refills are also recyclable. I use this to print out patterns, and I use recycled paper to print out my patterns. And the other thing is my silhouette cutting machine. I haven't actually used this for fabric yet, but I can. So it is a equipment that I could use for future projects if I wanted to. On top of cutting fabric, it could possibly just cut out pattern pieces for you, which could save a lot of time and energy. And then this machine I bought pre-owned on eBay, and I liked going through eBay because it guarantees that it is going to work. It actually came with all of its film and protective packaging on it still. So I think it might have just been an open box scenario, but it was like $100 cheaper than brand new, which was also a great bonus. Thank you for watching this video, and if you liked it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you made it this far, I'd really appreciate it if you comment sewing in the comments, so I know you watched till the end. If you'd like to know more about cosplay and sustainability, please let me know in the comments. I have a ton of things still planned for this series, but if there's something specific you want me to cover, please let me know. If you have a friend that would enjoy this video, please make sure to share it with them. And last but not least, don't forget to stay sustainably Sakura.